Hello, greetings and welcome to Silverstone Live on Facebook, with the recorded videos available on my YouTube channel immediately after the live show. And this is the place, as you know, if you've been following the show, for fashion, entertainment, food and drink, and so much more. Each week I invite a guest to join me to discuss one of these topics. Post your thoughts and your comments during the live show right below the live stream, and my guest will address as many as possible in the next hour. And if you're a regular viewer, you will know that this show is always on the air here or on YouTube afterwards, depends when you're watching it, thanks to a group of nerds who help me out whenever I need it. So it's nerd thank you time, folks. Silverstone Live is powered by Experiment, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, the Apple specialist for people who can't afford the Apple stores and who want a less frenzied experience. There's no wait time at Experiment, King of Prussia. They accept trade-ins and transfer data at no additional charge, and most repairs are finished in under 15 minutes, and they can add memory on the spot. Experiment, King of Prussia specializes in selling pre-owned Apple products, a full range: computers, iPhones, iPads and accessories, making repairs, taking trade-ins and selling software and system updates. And every purchase comes with a 12-month warranty. Silverstone Live is only live each week thanks to our studio equipment, care and support by my mates at Experiment, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. You know what, I think I'm going to charge you more money since I added that music in the background. I think so. Well, ladies and germs, and there's quite a few of you already. By the way, don't let me forget, I'll keep reminding you, I do need you, when you say hi, Phil, tell me where you're from, okay? Country is fine. I don't need to know the town. I'm not coming over for tea. Anyway, Jonatha Brooke is a singer-songwriter whose music merges elements of folk, rock, and pop with poignant lyrics and complex harmonies. She has been stunning us with her craft since the late 1980s, and Jonatha and her husband Patrick Rains live in Minnesota, the beautiful area of Minnesota. Jonatha's songs have been used in television shows, films, and you can binge listen to Jonatha in over a dozen albums, plus all the compilations she's featured on, as well as her singles and her EPs. And this past February, and depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching it on YouTube, I'll just add 2019. Jonatha Brooke won overall grand prize at the 15th Annual International Acoustic Music Awards, as well as being named Best Female Artist with her song Put the Gun Down. Absolutely, absolutely right. She should have got that. Jonatha will no doubt receive Best Record Cover of the Year for standing in the middle of a tree-lined street wearing only I know it's coming, so I'm laughing, wearing only a pair of stunning silver boots, a giant bass drum, and a smile in the Mar Vista neighborhood on the west side of Los Angeles. She allegedly exposed herself for a photo shoot for Imposter, her latest fabulous 5-song EP. She is one of the most relevant and gifted artists in the music industry today. She's in our virtual green room, and before she joins me, let's roll some tape of Jonatha from a few years ago, reminding herself and reminding us, careful what you wish for.
When I was a little girl, had desires like you, one of everything, all the riches. How could I help myself? I was so naive. Santa Claus, Christmas Eve. Oh. you wish for. Careful what you do. Even when you whisper, someone's listening to you. Careful what you wish for. Careful what you say. Careful what you wish for, 'cause it just might come true someday. Now that I have everything, I'm a puppet on a string. Someone's got the end and I'm unraveling. And here's the thing, I would throw it all away if I could only hear you say, baby, I'll stay. Baby, I'll stay. First I wish for money and a house on.
To hell with the show. Let's just listen to that. Wow, it's fabulous. From her fifth studio album released back in 2007, that was Careful What You Wish For, from today's guest, Jonatha Brooke, who I am delighted to welcome finally, after all this chat for me, to Silverstone Live. And there you are, Jonatha, on the screen. Hi.
Hi.
You look fabulous.
Thanks.
I've been
We're
looking
in my
at.
kitchen.
You're in your kitchen. I'm in your kitchen, and
You're
I'm
in my
look-
kitchen.
and I'm
All
looking
up
at your
in my
dining
kitchen.
room. I have been looking at your photographs over the years. You've changed. You've changed your look
Yeah.
over the years, but you look the best now. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, well, thank you. Because you're the fashion guy.
No, not me. I'm not the fashion guy. I just cover up all my old, fat, ugly looks with all this fashion crap, but not really. Listen, I have to say something to you. I've played that track not only on my phone and everywhere else, and then watching the video. Am I the only one who said this? I'm sure I'm not. I always feel that song has a kind of Freddie Mercury Queenish thing to it. Does everyone say that?
I hope they do. I mean, yes, a few people have said that, and that was kind of where we went with it.
Okay. Well, stupid me. Then I shouldn't have even asked you that.
Well, no, it happened that way, and then of course we had JC Chazes in the studio. We were writing the song with him, for him at the time, and then of course before it could come out, he got dropped by his label. But he was the one who stacked all those crazy vocals, and so we went for this like crazy circus thing, and it ended up sounding a little Queenish.
Yeah, I could have seen Freddie Mercury joining you on that one, but
That would be fun.
that's not going to happen. Ladies and germs, if you go to my website or my TuneIn radio podcast page, you can hear Jonatha and me chatting about Jonatha's career, because today I'd like to look at some other amazing aspects of her work and talk her about, obviously the reason she's here, about her brand new EP, which is tremendous. But first I have to ask you, Jonatha, a very serious question. Since you moved to Minneapolis, and of course you've lived in Los Angeles, you've lived in New York, you've lived in a number of different places, but do you yet know who makes the best tater tot hot dish?
I don't.
Do you know what I'm
not a
talking about?
hot dish. Yeah, hot dishes are a big deal here, but I just haven't been really around the block yet to taste them all.
I just wanted you to know that I was aware of it, and
You
when
did
I
your
come,
research.
and I'm going to listen out for how many times you say "you betcha" at the end of every sentence.
Oh, you betcha. Yeah, sure. Okay.
You and Jennifer Kimball began playing music together back in the 80s, having met at Amherst College in Massachusetts, performing as The Story. Your folk songs were marked as, here's a quote, witty wordplay and sumptuous pop harmonies, and your music was described as folk rock singer-songwriter aesthetic. It seems to me that sums up your work, Jonatha, even today after all these years.
Was it witchy or bitchy?
Oh no, it was bitchy. I'm sorry, it was bitchy.
I guess that sums it up. I mean, I always think that I write pop songs. They might be a little more complex harmonically than your normal three chords and the truth kind of deal. Because I just like complexity and I like dissonance. But I think I write pop songs.
Is that what you do?
I don't know.
I think we'll talk about this shortly. I think you write poetry and you somehow add music to it.
Well, I mean, the words can't suck. I mean, that's kind of rule number one. The words have to mean something, and they have to, I always know when I'm done if there's this little kind of thing in the pit of my stomach that's fluttering going, and that I actually usually, if a song is a keeper, if I'm crying as I'm writing it. So those are the two indications, the flutter in my belly and that I'm crying, that I've matched up some potion of lyrics that are poignant in a way that's not just hitting you over the head with "I love you."
But do you actually cry with your lyrics?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Really? I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
really are that passionate, because I don't always think that people write things and actually get emotionally attached to them.
Oh yeah, I break myself up sometimes. I'll be in the middle of a song, like even songs I've been singing for 20 years, like So Much Mine. Once in a while, it'll get to me. I'll there'll be a different facet that hits me, and I'll see it in a different way. Especially like after I don't have kids of my own, but I did mother my mother. I took care of my mother till the end of her life, and that was
Right.
a very poignant turn for that particular song for me, where I was like suddenly feeling those motherly feelings, those "I'll take a bullet for you" feelings that, yeah, I imagined them, I wrote about them in the song, but I was singing about me now.
Yeah, well, that in that case, which we are going to talk about, I can totally understand that. It's just in other songs. That's something that nobody has ever said to me before, and I think that is an amazing that the passion actually then genuinely just gushes out when you're writing this. I have to show people, because they may not be familiar. Even your ardent fans may still not be familiar or remember what you were like when you were singing 2 and 2 of 5. Would you mind if I play about a minute of that? And I'm going to do it. And while I do that, Jonatha, get a bit closer to your microphone, because I want everyone to hear you.
Okay.
Folks, here is When 2 and 2 are 5. We're going back in time.
2 and 2 are 5. Change the world, make a faithful pay. The trees of the field and maybe the lilies.
I wish I could see it.
They will comfort you. But in the twinkling of an eye, there will be nothing. 2 shakes of somebody's hand. No still small voice. Meanwhile, I'm gonna sleep all day, get half drunk each night. Be the nothing that is. I'll be the nothing that will be. I'm gonna sleep all day, get half drunk each night. Be the nothing that is. I'll be the nothing that will be.
That was amazing. I love the fact you paid Elvis Presley to be in that. That was incredible. Must have cost you a fortune. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
the trombone solo was really expensive too.
Yeah, I bet. Don't worry, you will get the video of this, so you'll be able to see yourself. I love that. I love that, and I love your partner there in the background doing this with her head. You know, it was just, it's brilliant. That's why I needed to include it. So anyway, let's move on to your career. In 1994, you launched your solo career. Your song 10 Cent Wings was I mean, this is amazing. It was heaped with incredible praise by Billboard magazine, which said 10 Cent Wings. This is important. I mean, I've never read anything like this. 10 Cent Wings is essential, like taking a deep breath after witnessing something magnificent. So I have to first congratulate you on 25 years as a solo artist. And your music is still essential and magnificent. What inspires you most?
Oh gosh, I think any good story will inspire me, and any piece of good writing will inspire me. I was an English major in college, so I'm kind of into a great turn of phrase, a great title. Some poems just knock me sideways, and I'll have to sort of dig into them and see what I can excavate and make into a story of my own, just inspired by one or two words. So it's often kind of hoity-toity, just great writing will inspire me to try to write better myself and to create something new out of a tiny tidbit that I've picked up along the way.
Has E. Cummins inspired you?
Early on, for sure. My very first song was an E. Cummings poem. It was a college assignment. I was supposed to choose an E. Cummings poem and set it to music. So that was like the thing that spurred me into songwriting in the first place, which is why I will always go back to poetry to sort of refill the well. My mother was a poet. My dad was a journalist. My brothers are smarty pants teachers and writers. So like we're all about words in this family, and I think that's sort of what keeps spurring me on.
Oh, that's great. You come from a real brainy family, so you've
I consider myself the dumbass of the of the crew. Like everyone else is super smart.
I'm not sure that I follow that, but I always tell people that my brother has the brains and I have the looks. I think I got to change that. But anyway. There's a question that I haven't asked a singer before, a songwriter before. Do you think, Jonatha, with people with your particular talent, discover? And I'm asking this. Let me just say this because I've discovered this with actors, and I'm sure you know this. But do you think that people with your particular talent discover the muscle in the brain where music is created, and is it just like turning on a faucet and just letting those creative juices gush out?
I wish it was like a faucet. It's really hard, and year after year I keep thinking, well, I've done this before, this should be easy this time. I've made 12 records now, what's the big deal? Like it should be like riding a bicycle, but it's really hard every time. And there's just this consuming sense of like, uh-oh, there may be nothing left, or uh-oh, I'm a total loser, imposter. I'm never going to be able to do this again. Who was I to think I could do it in the first place? It's just, I don't know, it comes with the territory, I guess. There's the creative, there's that joy of like when you're riding the wave and the channel's open and you find the thing and your belly is fluttering and you're crying and you're like, I got the thing, it's a song, oh my God, this is so good. And then there's that torturous trough of despair, in the doldrums before you get that glimmer of the next thing, and you just wonder if you'll ever happen upon it again.
I'm just amazed that artists like you or other artists can stand up for an hour and a half, however long it might be, and just remember the words to all of those songs. I've got to ask you this question. I mean, and I do got to ask you because I want to know. I only ask you questions that interest me. Do you ever throw in the odd word here or there? Nobody might not know, people might not notice, but do you ever throw in the odd word if you kind of forget what the original word was, or never? You always remember the original words.
There have only been a couple times. Well, actually, my bass player threw in, like, I had this porno version of one song, so I can't really tell you about it, but, and I made this joke about it in rehearsal one time about, like, what if it was, wouldn't that be so funny if it was this? And then when I was mixing the live record that grew out of that song and those tracks, I realized that he had been singing the porno version all along. So I had to duck away down in the mix. Yeah.
Do you have an outtake of that you can put out on one of these X-rated music channels? If they exist, I don't know.
Oh my God, that would be great.
That would, but because I know you know, when I talk to actors, especially Shakespearean actors, they say because of the rhythm of Shakespeare, um, they very often forget maybe a word or two, so they throw in any old word like trash bag or something, and because it's going with the flow, nobody really notices it. And I didn't
I
know
don't
if,
think I'm that quick. I'm not quite that quick, but I have forgotten the words a few times of like the song that I should know. You know, it's written in my freaking skin at this point, but I have actually forgotten the words to so much mine. And I just keep going around and around and around until someone in the front will be like, "It's where'd you get that dress?" Like, thank you so much. I don't know where I was.
Rabina, hi Rabina. Rabina's in Scotland. She's asking what's around your shoulder. You'll find out in a minute, Rabina. We're not going to tell you now. You've got to stick around, and you'll find out what it looks like. Oh, there you go. You saw. You had a glimpse of it. You had a glimpse of it because we're going to have live music. That's what it is, Rabina.
You have to wear bright orange around here, you know, in case there are any hunters around, you have to wear blaze orange so that if you walk,
Oh,
I mean, not really, but because I am wearing a mandolin, so I probably wouldn't be deep in the woods, but just in case, so you don't get shot.
you've never been shot and had your head stuffed on a wall, have you?
Not so far.
No, no, I didn't.
Far.
I didn't think you had. You're one of the singer-songwriters whose words, as I've already said, could easily be published in a poetry book. And I'm loving going back over your career because there's a lot of career to go back over with quotes that you might, you know, maybe some of the quotes you never read, maybe you've got them, you know, tattooed on your arm. But somebody wrote that you were a down-to-earth poet with an apparently inexhaustible supply of anecdotes and flawlessly crafted, lush backdrops for songs that mused wistfully about love and destiny. I think he was on some funny cigarettes that day. Are you so? I was reading that and trying to understand what he said. He sounds a bit like Donald Trump there because I wasn't. No, we mustn't mention him. But it led me on to a thought. And are you first inspired? I try not to ask the questions you're asked all the time, simply because I do ask questions that I haven't heard before from anyone. But I apologize if I'm asking you some really basic questions today. But last time we spoke, we got into more detail about certain areas. But in your case, because I'm so fascinated with the way your music comes across, are you first inspired by these words, which I think are fabulous, or does the melody come to you initially?
I would say on a good day, I've got some words jumbling around first. And I actually just got home from a songwriting workshop in Nashville where we were talking about different ways that lead you into songs. And for me, I always feel luckiest if I've got a hook or some sort of beautiful poetry that I've landed on that is moving me in some way. And because I think that the words tell you so much about how they should be spoken or sung, how quickly they might be spoken or sung, what their cadence will be, whether it's a waltz, whether it's a rocking 4/4 song, where the money note is, where you're going to bring your melody up, like what word matters the most, what are you going to amplify, what are you going to hit hard because that word matters the most. Are you going to put it on the downbeat? Is it going to be your highest note? So that there's tension, there's something at stake for it in the way you sing it, all those things. So like for me, the words are this candy that tell me where to go and how high and how fast. And then there are songs that just dump down. Those are the lucky days, like 5 or 6, perhaps over my entire career, of songs that just appear sort of fully. They just sort of come through you and you just race to get them down before you forget them.
Isn't it sad that people like John Lennon and Paul McCartney needed 2 people to come up with all this? You do it all on your own, much cleverer, much better lyrics and stuff. Now, in 2000, Anne, hello Anne. You're only half an hour late for the show, but that's okay. Everyone else who's watching, please say hi and just say hi and tell me where you're from so I have an idea. in you, not if you're watching this on YouTube. It's not that I don't care, but it's not live, so I can't respond on YouTube. Anyway, in 2002, I was thinking about this. Your life was sprinkled with some really nice pixie dust. You married your manager, Patrick Rains, and you performed a couple of songs on Disney's Return to Neverland soundtrack, a film based on the Peter Pan story. I want to run some tape before we talk about this, because I love this. So let's just take a look and see if we can find. Here we go, Peter Pan. I'll try.
For me, a lot of times the best songs are where the lyrics really dictate the melody and the cadence and the rhythm. Once I came up with it, it became really clear that it was a powerful vehicle for this character and perhaps for the movie.
I am not a child now. I can take care of myself. I mustn't let them down now. Mustn't let them see me cry. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm too tired to listen. I'm too old to believe all these childish stories. There is no such thing as faith and trust and pixie dust.
That was my guest, Jonatha Brooke, performing her song I'll Try from Disney's 2002 Return to Neverland. Now, Jonatha, I find that I can write without any difficulty whatsoever if I have the freedom to write what comes into my head, but not if I'm told, let's say, by an editor to write about something that they specifically want me to write about. I'm not sure whether Disney gave you a brief about the songs they wanted, but if they did, was that more difficult for you as it is for me?
Actually, it's a gift. It's easier to have a really specific assignment. Like this song you must in 2.5 minutes describe the emotional journey of a 12-year-old girl who has to do this, and this in the course of this film. So go. I love it. For some reason, I love an assignment, and so often if I'm stuck, I'll give myself an assignment kind of like that, and as like an exercise. So often those are the easiest songs because it's like clear cut what you have to do.
I was going to call you something beginning with a B for that because I could never do that, but I understand.
Sorry.
No, but from your perspective, I suppose it is. Firstly, Gwendolyn, hello from Switzerland. Nick.
Hi, Gwendolyn.
do you speak Swiss, or you just eat the cheese?
She speaks French.
I know. You spent a lot of time in France.
I spent a fair amount of French. My French is okay. Hi, Gwendolyn.
Nick Voutsakis, who must be in Greece, he asked a question. I know the answer to this, but I am going to, because I've read the answer to it, but I am going to ask you this because he's watching and he wants to know. If you had a chance to collaborate with any other artist, who would it be?
Ooh. Well, it might be fun to play with Snarky Puppy. But another artist, oh goodness.
Because you once.
Oh, I know. I mean, it would never happen because we're such different worlds. But Stromae, he's Belgian. He's a Belgian kind of dance artist, but his lyrics and his storytelling is just so deep and gorgeous and poignant.
Well, as you've got older, your answers have changed. Okay, that.
What did I say before?
Wow, the predictable, before.
Oh.
you wanted to perform with Paul McCartney and Elton John and all sorts of
I
people.
never said that.
And
Did I?
you wanted to perform with, wait a minute, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, all those people. I don't know. We're getting a lot of questions here, so let me just say, Lou Brotman, hi. He said, I got lovely musical guest. Always cool to hear about the creative protest process. Oh, Nick isn't from Greece. He's from Philly. And let me see, let's put it on the screen so I can read it. Saw you in Philly in 2016. He loves your guitarist. Do you have the same guitarist you had in 2016?
I think yeah, it was Sean Driscoll. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, Nick, stick around. All of you stick around, because I'm going to tell you, and not only in the United States, in Europe too, I'm going to tell you at the end of the show where you can see Jonatha. Nick, you can see her, and I bet you can guess where when she comes to Philadelphia. But she's coming. She's in the middle of traveling all over the States, and she's coming to Europe. So I'm going to be showing you that. I'm going to put a photo up now, ladies and gentlemen, of a poster. And the poster, as you can see, is Jonatha Brooke. My mother has 4 noses. Let me just, I want to get into this. Nick loves snarky puppy guitarist. Oh, Zoot Money's here. Zoot, I've got to stop a minute, Jonatha. Zoot, before we came on camera, mwah, I love you. You know I love you. I was telling Jonatha all about you and all your antics in the 60s. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put this on the screen. Let's put on the screen what he says. This is Zoot Money. I'm sorry to break into your period of time here, but Zoot was instrumental in the British invasion. Hi, Jonatha. Lovely work you do. Having trouble maintaining signal, but glad I turned it on. Yeah, what Zoot does, he sticks his leg out the window in London to get a good signal. But Jonatha is going to come and see you, Zoot, and you two are going to play at one of your sessions and have a great time. Anyway, Zoot, lovely to have you here, mate. In February 2014, folks, Jonatha opened her one-woman play called My Mother Has 4 Noses off-Broadway at the Duke Theatre in New York City. The play recounts, in words and music, Jonatha's relationship with her mother, who sadly suffered from dementia. Jonatha took her show on the road to a few cities, and I was absolutely privileged to see it at People's Light in Malvern, Pennsylvania. It was intimate, with funny moments, and obviously very sad moments, as photos were shown, and Jonatha was surrounded by her mum's very own keepsakes. Here's the question I've asked a few actors, but in your case, I was watching some video of this, and I was watching your expressions, Jonathan. I remember the production so well that I remembered these particular moments and things. Where did you go? What place did you go to in your mind during the performance every day on the stage?
The sad parts, you mean?
I'm open to you telling me, because I don't believe there are moments I don't believe you were actually there on the stage with the audience.
Yeah, well, I had to learn how to act, or else I would have been like reliving it every night. I mean, it was an incredible, I spent 2 years with my mom, for those of you who don't know, caring for her at the end of her life. And she had Alzheimer's and all sorts of other stuff, but she was also very, very funny and an incredible childlike persona grew out of this dementia. As she lost her words, she became a character that was just a whole different thing. And anyway, in the storytelling, I had to learn how to act. I had to learn how to dabble into the story and then come back out again. I had to go to the really sad place, but not, lose my shit and start crying. So I guess I just became a Pied Piper in a way. I was the teller of this story, and it was just sort of on my shoulders for those 2 hours, and then I could walk away again.
By the way, you must know Stephanie Pappas. She says hi.
Yeah.
Stephanie says so. Hi, Steph. One song, Jonatha, from that show is still in my head. For some reason, your music has a knack of staying in my head. And I suppose it was a very special moment in the show. And it's another one of my favorites. Your mother would ask, "Are you getting this down, Booley? This is pure gold." Booley, folks, was Jonatha's mum's nickname for her. And with your permission, I would like to play an extract of that, because I hope you don't mind I'm playing these extracts, but I want people to see this. So this is Jonatha from My Mother Has Four Noses. It's called Are You Getting This Down? And here it comes now.
Even before our latest collaboration began, writing about my mother was a natural imperative. She inhabited so many of my songs over the years. I used to thank her on stage for all the good material. And I haunted her poems and essays. She wrote a column called Looking Homeward for the Christian Science Monitor for 10 years. And her poems have been published for as long as I can remember in the church's periodicals. Our last 2 years together were a detour from my real life, for sure. But they were rich, and we were a pair. I was getting it down. My mother has four noses is always how it started. She would have insisted. One morning, I came to see her after breakfast. She had her nose tied upside down to the bridge of her glasses through its nostrils. She'd already tried Scotch tape and glue stick. She asked me perfectly innocently if I thought it was acceptable. I told her it was very clever indeed, and that I thought it would pass muster. "Who's Muster?" she said. "We don't know anybody named Muster." Gotcha! Mom's noses are brilliant maxillofacial works of art. My mother was also a piece of work, but I loved her so much. I never knew how much until now. Are you getting this down? Booly, it's good. Are you getting this down? Booly, you should. 'Cause all my pretty promises and my desperate amends couldn't put me back together again. Couldn't put me back together again. But you did.
I hope that didn't upset you. It chokes me up a little bit to hear that.
No, so great. And for those who didn't see the show, my mom had skin cancer, so she ended up with these prosthetic noses. They made her four noses because, you need one for each season, one with more freckles, one with a little paler for the winter. And as her dementia got more sort of entrenched, the noses became strangely this great comedy show. It was like this great theater around the noses every day. So literally that would happen. She would just find a different way to attach the nose.
Well, I guess it added some levity to an otherwise. I know your husband and your brother were very involved in this. Gwendolyn I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn, I'm going to get your name correct. Freudeveau. Bisou. And thanks, Philip, for this interview. Jonatha is an amazing artist and one of the greatest person I have ever met. Have you been to one of her concerts? Zoot, by the way, I know you just popped out. Yes, I was telling our guest today all about you and the fact that the two of you are going to get together if she can find the time in London. She's pretty busy and she doesn't have a lot of time for old geezers like you, but she'll see what she can do. You're clearly an actress and storyteller. Whatever you just said, I mean, it came across. Even though you say you're not an actress, but the way you presented this, the staging of it, the blocking, everything you did in theatrical terms and work was perfect and very well poised. And you seemed clearly comfortable, even though you weren't doing your normal gig. So this is beyond the realm of singer-songwriter, and that play led to you catching the theatre bug. So the limited storylines in a song can now be given a full-blown dimension in your plays, which must be incredibly satisfying for you.
It's a really fun thing to be learning. I'm still on the learning curve, but there's a beautiful thing that you can do in theater that you can't necessarily do in a normal gig, where you can chop your song in half. You can start your song, you're coming out of a dialogue, and where you like, and that you naturally need to, I need to sing this to you. And then in the middle of that thing, when you get to another emotional sort of goalpost, then you can continue talking, and you can sort of move the story forward and talk then, and then you can come back in on the bridge and just nail it to them, and it's the most exciting combination of things, because it's, I don't know, it's just, to me, it's, I'm loving learning this new way of telling stories. And
well, you say you're learning it, but you've already put out a couple of plays and you've got a couple in the pipeline. So your faucet is really gushing. I don't care what you say. You've got. I'm just going to say hallelujah, and that'll give you a tip to get ready for your first live song in October. Let me cough for you.
Let me warm up.
I needed an excuse. Are you okay to do this?
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce this. In October, folks, 2016, Jonatha released the album Midnight Hallelujah, recorded at Sweetwater Studios in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and mixed by a man with the most beautiful name I've ever heard, Bob Clearmountain. The title track is, yes, another of my favorite Jonatha Brooke songs, and when she asked me what I'd like her to play today, I said I'd like you to play Midnight Hallelujah. So here's our guest, full screen, with Midnight Hallelujah.
Yeah. I go to church on Sunday, incense in full bloom, losing all of my conviction in that suffocating room. There are the stained glass windows pouring down the day. I'm dreaming of your body as I'm kneeling down to pray. I'm praying that you stay, be my midnight hallelujah. Stay, be my 2 a.m. amen. Stay, be my sweet, sweet revelation. And maybe in the morning we can make amends. We can make amends. We can make amends. So many rules, no reason. Where the hell is grace? I'm tired of hypocrisy, yeah. Nothing makes sense to me. So I go to church on Sunday, and I'm trying for restraint, but I'm a tongue-tied black belt, sitting here and I'm running with the saints. I'm praying that you stay, be my midnight hallelujah. Stay, be my 2 a.m. amen. Stay, be my sweet, sweet revelation. And maybe in the morning we can make amends. So you lay your hands upon me, my old world begins. If love is our religion, could it be a sin? Stay, be my midnight hallelujah. Stay, and be my 2 a.m. amen. Stay, be my sweet revelation. Maybe in the morning we can make amends. Yeah. Maybe if you stay. way you make me stay. Be my sweet, sweet elevation. And maybe in the morning we can make amends. Maybe in the morning we can make amends. Maybe in the morning we can make amends.
I have to apologize to you and the audience, but Skype has still got to get its act together. There's a few moments there where it kind of just didn't give you a smooth journey on that, but it came across beautifully. The audience loves it, and that's Skype. Thank you, Jonatha. That was wonderful. I've got to read a song. A song for the lighter. I've got to sing a song. No, thank you. I have to read. Excuse me. I have to read one line that I plucked from this song, and it's, "But I'm a tongue-tied black belt sinner, and I'm running with the saints." Where on earth do lyrics like that come from? Do they tumble out of the ether, or do you actually think of each word and put them together in a sentence?
Well, the best part of it is I'm a black belt sinner, but that is Mary Carr, one of my favorite authors of all time. She's a poet. She's written 3 memoirs. Just all time, like, favorite writer. And I sent her an email, sort of like, "Hey, are you cool if I'm going to borrow this and I'm going to embellish on it?" And she was totally cool with it. So I'm like, all right, I'm a tongue-tied black belt sinner and I'm running with the saints. So I just sort of took off from her perfectly distilled little snippet.
It's amazing that you can remember these words and get them in the right order. But then again, this is your art. You feel that
took a long time to sing because I was tongue-tied, and it's a lot of syllables to shove into like that little saints.
Now I know when I offered to pass you a glass of wine through the screen before, you said, not before I start singing. Yeah, because I'm a yeah, I can imagine that. No.
Yeah, never till after.
Water with lime is fine. You feel, I think you feel that among all of your instruments, you've got a lot of guitars, you've got a lot of equipment, that the mandolin is a little more mournful. And it seems to me, from what I've seen, that it seems to be, at the moment, your go-to instrument. Do you now write some songs specifically for mandolin, perhaps when you're in a less ebullient mood?
Well, no, because like mandolin's supposed to be happy. It's like the bluegrass instrument, but it happens that I tune it wrong, which I didn't realize until I had written my first song. I found this in a store. I was waiting for my friend to get finished buying his guitar, and it was on the counter, and it was tuned wrong, but I didn't know because I'd never played mandolin. So I started writing this song. And I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. And then I had to buy the mandolin in order to finish the song. So anyway, I ended up in this tuning because it was out of tune, and I tuned it to as close as I could find, and so it's more mournful than a mandolin should be. But that's, of course, where I live.
I only really know mandolins from the early Rod Stewart, and they weren't mournful at all. They were Maggie May, right?
I tuned it wrong. I tuned it sadder.
Well, listen to Maggie May and tune it to that. Then
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you. No, when you listen to Chris Thile, and it can be a very joyful sound. I just, I'll try. I'll keep trying.
I've got a request for you, but when you come to Philadelphia, which is going to be on the
tour,
it's from Nick. He wants So Much Mine.
Done.
So
Nick,
the only thing is you have to go to the concert and you have to buy the CD and you have to download. No, if you go to the concert, I'm sure you'll have an opportunity to hold up a sign and say, "Hey, I'm Nick, and this is the song I want." So put it on your playlist if you can, and that will be for Nick. And Nick, I want you. Don't let me down, mate. You've got to go to this. You have had so many amazing experiences in your career. I mean, the people you've worked with, Jonatha, the places you've played, the once in a lifetime opportunities, and to be featured. The featured act on the David Letterman show has got to be up there.
That was wicked fun.
Wicked fun.
I was so nervous. I remember, and you know, when I see it now, I think like, oh my God, why did I wear those stupid red leather pants? Oh my God, why did I wear that stupid Starsky and Hutch t-shirt? But the thing I remember the most is being there, and it's so cold. It really is. People always tell you how cold it is. It really is that cold. So you're freezing, and at least you're glad you didn't wear a tiny little dress. But basically, I was there, and I got through the first verse. I'm like, okay, it's going okay, it's okay. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, did I already sing? Wait, where am I? Did I already sing the chorus? Like, oh no, I'm going to screw this up. Oh no, where are we in the song? Was that this first chorus? What comes next? Oh no, I'm going to screw up on national television. I'm going to screw up my one chance at the David Letterman show. And then, you know, I've done the song enough that it's like automatic pilot, and somehow everything works out. We all end up at the end at the same time. But my brain was doing like somersaults and flip-flops as I was like pretending to be fine.
Well, I watched the show on the night you performed, and the song you sang became yet another favorite of mine. It's called Linger, and
Yeah.
with your permission, I want to show people an extract of that appearance.
Sure.
Because I always think of you as wearing leather pants, because that's what you. Anyway, this is David Letterman show, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're still with us, Paul Schaefer, the man that was in the audience who joined you, I think, is there, and you'll hear his voice. And my guest, here we go.
It's info.
That's what we got right here.
Yeah, that's right. Our next guest is a gifted singer-songwriter who's joining us tonight for the first time, and her acclaimed CD is entitled Steady Pull. Please welcome Jonatha Brooke.
I am walking past the sprinklers and the newly painted porches and the lemonade stand girls on a suburban afternoon. I am leaving 'cause I love you. I am leaving 'cause I don't. And I am hoping you will follow. And I'm praying that you won't let me go.
Oh, that was great. You did not look nervous at all.
I don't know how.
You did not look. You look great, actually. That was a great look. Let's move on. Do you have an extra 5 minutes or so if we need to run over the hour? So, ladies and gentlemen, because we now come to the key point of the show, which is to talk about Jonatha's latest EP. It's called Imposter. It's out now with 5 new songs, one of which Jonatha's going to sing to us in a few minutes. I was thinking, instead of me doing it, because it's I'm sorry, I'm looking at what people are writing here. Love that Guild guitar, Lou Botman. Now, Lou, you know about guitars, Lou. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you could give the audience a thumbnail of the 5 tracks, leaving the one you're going to perform till last. Let's first, because I noticed this on social media, naughty, so we're going to make up for it now. Let's first give a shout out to Susan Corfer Carey for snapping that fab photo of you. And
Yes, I spelled her last name wrong. So it's Carrie with a C, just so everyone knows.
it's spelt correct everywhere else. So only. Well, you didn't print it, did you? So it's the printer's fault.
Well, no, and I somehow it got changed because what I sent was correct and then it got changed. So anyway, but yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah, she and Susan Corfer Carey with a C. Congratulations, you snapped such a fab photo, and I think she reveals, and the pun is intended, your kick-ass attitude and fearlessness. Even though you say other things about this cover's meaning, which we might have time to get to or on another show, but I think that cover really does show the true Jonatha. And let me just show everyone that the cover Here's the cover. I'm not doing my job here today. There's the cover. What do you think of that, folks? Look at that. And is it your stepdaughter is watching and one of your best
Yeah.
friends?
My stepdaughter's the one behind the drum in the distance.
Yeah.
And my friend Bambi is on the right there. She's the one that got me the Peter Pan song gig. She was working at Disney. And she's like, I think I have a job for you. You need to write this song for this Peter Pan movie. I'm like, I'll be right over. So that's Bambi.
Wow.
Yeah. And then on the left is the next door neighbor, Rala. I mean, it was really a labor of love.
You shouldn't have let that man out there. He's looking at your bottom. That shouldn't be allowed in this day and age. You know?
He was cool. He behaved. Barry Dresner is his name. He was lovely, and we trusted him because he was a friend of Susan. So
that was the most exciting day of his life. You realize that? No, I shouldn't say that. I don't know him. Let's get into the EP. A thumbnail of each of the songs. Fire.
Oof. Ready? Okay, Fire. It's just sort of about getting to that point where you finally are you are at home in your skin and you don't give a shit what people think about you or say to you. And there's a power to being in your 50s and having a body of work that, that speaks for itself, and having the respect of your peers, and having things that are meaningful, and knowing what is meaningful, like knowing what matters. And so Fire was just sort of this all right, kids, I got it. Check it out, because I'm not taking any shit anymore. So, voila.
That's what I mean about the true Jonatha. That's the feeling I get from you, that you don't take any crap from anyone. I'm going to move on go on. What were you going to say?
I was going to go to the next song. But
okay, the next song I've got here is True to You. It was written with the late jazz keyboardist Joe Sample, who your husband managed.
Yes, for almost 40 years. Pat was Joe's. Yeah, so they were tight. They've been through everything together. And Joe passed away in September of 2014, but this was the last thing we wrote together. True to You is a song we were working on a musical together also. And this is a lyric that was kind of a gift lyric. And Joe sort of felt the same way about his composition that grew out of me sending him the lyric. It was one of those sort of magical things where we were both kind of like, wow, that just happened, and we're not going to touch it. It's really special. It's actually on he's got a beautiful marble piano monument at his grave.
Oh.
It's 7 foot tall of black, beautiful granite, and this song is engraved on it.
Lou just noted that Joe was great in the Jazz Crusaders.
Oh, so good. Just an iconic composer and an amazing man. Just an amazing storyteller, amazing musician.
Yeah.
We miss him every day.
Your friend Ronnie White. I'm going to put this on the screen while we're talking here.
Michael.
It's on the screen. Your friend Ronnie White made a papier-mâché Stargazer man a few years ago. I'm showing everyone the photo now.
Good.
Why is his image now related to the next track on the EP called Twilight?
I was looking for an image that would go with that song for me, and that's a piece of art that she's my best friend, Ronnie White, who is an incredible artist. She'd given me that a few years ago, and it all of a sudden clicked that this could be this image that transmitted the feelings that song gives me. And it's a song about, someone sort of making amends before it's too late. Basically, it's a father speaking to his kids about I love you. I know I screwed up. I know I was unfaithful. There was the divorce, and there was all this other stuff, these ways that I failed you, but I just need you to know before it's too late that I love you. Not perfectly, not well, but I love you. So I hope you can take that with you and forgive me too. And then in the second verse, there's this thing about, we can pick a sign, a secret signal. Simple by design, so we'll both know. Maybe a shooting star off Jupiter, or pennies in a wishing well. So I kept thinking that to me is the moment in that song where they're picking a sign of like, okay, you'll know it's me when you see that shooting star. You'll know it's me saying from wherever I am. You know, if I have to go, that'll be me, and that'll be the star that that'll be our signal. So that's when I was like, oh, I want that to be the cover for that.
And the man, obviously, who you're speaking of, did have a very complicated life, and but people can read about that, I'm sure, somewhere. Imposter, which is a cue here, is the title track of the CD, and your infamous photo on the record, you say, reflects your struggle with imposter syndrome, which is a psychological term for a pattern of behavior where people doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent, often internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Surely, Jonatha, you don't believe you're a fraud.
There are times I definitely struggle with coming up with the next thing, or, you know, there are the doldrums, as I said earlier. I'm very proud of my body of work, but it doesn't get easier to keep creating. It's still a challenge. It's a jigsaw puzzle every time. And then I wanted to take it one step further, obviously, in the photo, because I love the metaphor of the emperor with no clothes, and so I took that to the extreme, and I cast myself as the emperor, and that became sort of the way of telling that story of the imposter syndrome, imposter.
I think you're a bit tough on yourself at times, but that's a whole other...
I'm my worst. I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't. You have nothing to criticize. From this EP, yet another favorite Jonatha Brooke song has emerged for me. It's the title track. It's called Imposter. Are you fit to sing this now?
I could probably pull it off.
You think you could? Have you sung it before?
A few times here and there. Wait, how's that?
That's great.
Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
I am the imposter, the emperor parading through the town square, naked as a jaybird, vying for the spotlight, even as I feel the rush of cold air. But no one says a word from the one night stand up against the wall. Promise you I love you, but I'll never ever call my loser phony. No one ever says so, but I know it's true. Poser, lightweight, cheapskate. Woe is me, the wannabe. Go ahead and drop the other shoe. Runs in the family. I come from a long line of pretenders, naked just like me, keeping up the pretense, dodging our reflections so we don't see what everyone else sees. Liar, loser, phony. No one ever says so, but I know it's true. Poser, lightweight, cheapskate. The woe is me, the wannabe. Someone better muster up the truth. Why am I the only one who's tired of pretend? My very own best saboteur, coming clean as such a lure. Liar, loser, phony. No one ever says so, but I know it's true. Know it's true. Poser, lightweight, cheapskate. The woe is me, the wannabe. I don't wanna wait and see. Liar, loser, phony. No one ever says so, but I know it's true. Poser, lightweight, it's late. So I'm putting on my old cheap suit. I abdicate. My reign here is through. So drop the other shoe. 'Cause I'm the imposter, the emperor, parading through the town square, naked as a jaybird.
Let's get myself over here and get you over there. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I must say, as you read, because I did a quote of something immediately after I heard this, that the production value of the EP is extraordinary. This particular song, I love the orchestration, and it reminded me of something that would have come from the Fab Four. The way it was produced in Abbey Road, Northwest 8, where I grew up. And it's just something special about that. It had just a mark of those, well, 6 Beatles, if you count everyone who was involved. I don't know if that was intentional, but that's how it came across with the individual instruments you had in the studio.
It definitely was intentional, and also my arranger, Adi Yeshaya, is a genius. So, I said, it has to have a sense of humor. There's irony in it, and there's a little bit of Sgt. Pepperiness, but it's still me. But see what happens, and he just took it and ran with it. And there's so much humor in there's some like trumpet and flugelhorn flourishes, but like you can see the emperor was just walking through the town square just by listening to how he's orchestrated it, and it's awesome.
I think that is one of the most amazing tracks that I've ever heard from you, only because it, as I'd said before, I think I wrote before, that it conjures up images of back in the 60s. It doesn't have a 60s sound, but it has the heyday. Well, if everyone buys the EP, they'll know. And I love the fact that when you're singing, you I've noticed this in you. You have this kind of naughty look on your face. This impishness, which I like. It's I don't know what's going through your head when you have these impish expressions, but I can only imagine. I want to let everyone know that Jonatha, as I said earlier, by the way, for those of you that have joined us, quite a few of you joined us late in the show, in a couple of hours, early evening, this show will be on my YouTube channel, so make sure you go there. Colin Cameron, I'm not even talking to you. The show's almost over. You're going to have to watch the YouTube. I'm going to be looking for you watching the YouTube. So do watch the YouTube, and I think this was such an enjoyable conversation. I think it's worth watching the YouTube again. Jonatha's going to be touring through June, continuing her tour through June in the United States. To give you an idea, she's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, New York, Washington, Philadelphia. In Philly, she is going to be at I've just forgotten.
World Cafe.
World Cafe Live. I was going to ask you, I have to ask you this question. WXPN in Philadelphia, which is is part of the Penn University. It's on the Penn University campus, part of Penn University. It's the only station I listen to. It plays a lot of up-and-coming artists. It plays their favorite artists' new recordings. How did your love affair, how did their love affair with you come about? Because every time I turn them on, there's invariably a track of yours.
Oh, that's so nice. They have been my biggest supporters from the very, very beginning, from the early Story days. They used to play so much mine, and I think they played Linger. So we go way, way back, and it's a love affair. And they've been curious, every time I'm around, Bruce is like, hey, what are you working on? Like, make sure you just, keep me posted. What do you got? And so I can't thank them enough for their support. And I guess this is no exception. I think they've been very kind to this little EP too. And, then I get to play there.
Yeah. Well, I hope that you'll have time to have a photo with me, because I'm definitely going to come and see you at World Cafe Live. So I want a front row seat, and I want to come up and do harmonies. No, I'm just joking. So anyway, Jonatha's going to be in Philadelphia.
Nick will be angry.
She's going to be in just a few other places, just because for those of you around the country, Old Saybrook, Connecticut, Boston.
Boston, go Sox.
Yeah, that's your old stomping ground. Derry, New Hampshire, Northampton, Massachusetts, Wembley, Texas, and now, later on in the year, from October, Jonatha is going to Denmark. She's going to be in Odense, Randers, Aarhus, Sonderburg, and Birken. I can't pronounce it, but Birkerud. So if you happen to be in Denmark, if you live there, or if you want to pop across from wherever, pop across before England leaves Europe, while you can still get a ticket there. Go and see her. I also just want to mention that my guest has been Jonatha Brooke. Her website's been on the screen here. It's jonathabrooke.com. If you want to find out the dates of these concerts, the times, where they're located, go to the website. If you want to buy Jonatha's albums, EP, or her other albums, you can get links from the website. You can go anywhere and buy them. But if you order a physical copy of the CD, not a digital copy, but a physical copy, Jonatha, and you go to Jonatha's store for this, Jonatha's going to sign it for you. She's going to autograph it for you. So I would say buy the CD. I don't know. I like to physically have, I wish it was an LP. I'm old-fashioned. I like to physically have it in my hands and turn it over and get the magnifying glass out and read what it says on the back. And anyway, Jonatha, what I'm going to do now is that everyone who either missed it or liked it, I like it. So what I do at the end of an interview conversation is I play a video out. So that's how we leave the show. And I'm going to play out with Careful What You Wish For. This has been a very quick, for me, I hope it was for you, 75 minutes of chat.
Yeah.
And you are just such, I said this after the podcast last time, now I'm saying it after this video, well, live stream, then video. You're just the consummate guest. You're so easy to talk to. But as I've been saying to a lot of people now, and in your case it was true some time ago, that you're a very old friend that I met that day for the first time. And that's how I felt about meeting you. So I really appreciate you coming here today.
My pleasure. It's so nice to speak about all of this history and goodness.
So I am going to be extraordinarily rude, and I'll probably email you, and you'll be getting copies of this and everything. But I'm going to disconnect from you in a second, and then I'm going, as soon as I start playing the video, ladies and gentlemen, please go over to the YouTube channel in a couple of hours and watch this interview from the beginning if you missed it. My guest has been Jonatha Brooke, singer-songwriter, with a great new EP out, which you have, and the website again is jonathabrooke.com. I'll leave it on the screen. There it is. Imposter. You're Imposter. We are going to play out going back to the beginning of time with Careful What You Wish For. So to my audience, mwah, and to you, Jonatha, mwah.
Mwah.
Oh, do me a favor. I was thinking about this. Can you turn to your right? Turn to your right. Lift your head up a bit. Move forward a little bit more. Too much. Go back a little bit. Yeah. And kiss kiss the air. Kiss the air. I don't know if that worked, but if it did, I'll be amazed. Jonatha Brooke, until the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Careful what you wish for, everyone, and I'll see you next week.
When when I was a little girl, had desires like you, one of everything, all the riches. How could I help myself? I was so naive. Santa Claus, Christmas Eve. Oh. Careful what you wish for, careful what you do. Even when you whisper, someone's listening to you. Careful what you wish for, careful what you say. Careful what you wish for, 'cause it just might come true someday. Now that I have everything, I'm a puppet on a string. Someone's got the end and I'm unraveling. And here's the thing, I would throw it all away if I could only hear you say, baby, I'll stay. Baby, I'll stay. First I wish for money,